All right, welcome to Little Pod That Could. My guest today is Alex Neumann. If you watch YouTube at all, you may know him as New Alex. Alex, thanks for being here.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. It's my first podcast that I've been asked to be on, so I was excited.
But you've been on a podcast with significantly, we were just talking about it, with significantly more listeners than mine. So you're right, there's no pressure today at all.
Yeah, yeah. I don't really ever have anything good to say on his because like David's fucking hilarious. So then I feel like I'm just
Yeah.
nothing, and yeah, knowing that like all those people are listening, I'm like, I just choke.
See, okay, and it's weird because when we were DMing back and forth, I really was. It's not like I didn't want to just have you on and be like, okay, tell me about David, which is weird. I was fascinated by how do you navigate this world because you like live in the suburbs of Chicago and you have like this normal life, but you also are connected to this super famous person. And so I was like, for him, it's almost easier because he just lives in that world. But for you, you kind of go back and forth. So I thought, like it'd be fascinating to kind of hear your take on that. But before we get there, maybe to provide some context, like maybe tell people because we were talking off air that my audience probably doesn't know you. People under 25 are super stoked about this podcast. So like, oh my
Figure.
gosh, you
Yeah,
Alex, but I asked my mom, and she was like, "I have no idea who David Dobrik is." You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
And it seems like the cutoff seems to be 25 and 30 and up. I asked my friends that are like 33 in that range, and they were like, they didn't know who David Dobrik was. And so, just to kind of provide some context, can you maybe explain like who you are and maybe how people would know about you?
Like how people know about me other than from David.
I mean, probably mostly through David, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, definitely,
Okay.
100%. um,
Okay.
yeah, but I mean, other than
So, like,
that, I mean, I've lived literally in Vernon Hills my whole fucking life. I can't wait to get out of here. Um,
okay.
and that's yeah, Vernon Hills is just a suburb outside of Chicago. Right now, I work at a mortgage company analyzing loans. Um, so I mean, that's definitely like something that is like everyone would think, oh, I'm like doing super cool things. No, like I have a totally
You're
normal, like
analyzing loans.
boring desk job. I feel like that's about as like stereotypical boring desk job as it gets. It's like analyzing loans. Uh,
Yeah. And is that something that, because what did you get your degree in? Is that what did you do like a business degree?
yeah. My degree was actually in marketing with an emphasis in sales. So I
Okay.
was like super set on sales. This I went to Northern Illinois University. They had a really good marketing program, a even better sales program. Um, and the first job I had out of college was at a staffing agency. I graduated in May of 2019, so like almost 2 years ago, and
Okay.
I was at this staffing agency for only 2 months, and I was like, shit, this it because that like staffing recruiting is like pretty much sales. You're just selling a job, you know. Um,
Right.
and I was like, holy fuck, this shit is taking a toll on me. I was working. I mean, I was getting paid really well, so I was like, okay, just like stick to it. Like it's worth the money. I'm young. I gotta like bust my ass if I want to like get anywhere. Um, and I was like working really hard, but I just wasn't like getting any of the jobs filled or anything. Like I could barely even like get somebody to stay on the fucking phone with me. Um,
Hmm.
and so that like, and then sure enough, like 2 months in, my manager calls me in his office and like with like his manager, like one of the upper management guys, and they they just got right to the point. They're like, so I think we both know this isn't working out, right? I'm like, what? I
Damn.
was so like I knew he was right, but I was still like thrown off by how just to the point he was, which I appreciated. He
Yeah,
wasn't like trying to beat the bush.
right.
Um, but I mean, I did also feel like I was only there for 2 months. I wasn't really given a fair shot. So that like was, and then I fucking it was so embarrassing. I literally bawled my eyes out in front of him, and because that was like
Okay.
my first like big boy job, right?
Yeah, 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 for sure.
Um,
And anytime you like get fired, I mean, it just sucks. You're like, fuck, you just get rejected, and yeah, dude, I get it. It's not fun.
yeah. So then I um, and they were like telling me. I figured they're probably just telling me, what I want to hear. But they were just saying like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, like I think you'll do really well, like in some other sales job. Like sales is still for you. Because I was asking them like, do you think like sales, is still for me? And like, I was like, oh, they're probably just like telling me what I want to hear. Um,
Yeah,
so obviously, like they're gonna be try to be as nice as possible about it. So, um, I like took a completely different path. I was like, okay, I'm gonna try something more like analytical and like see how I like that. Um,
mm,
and after like um, I think like a month and a half of looking, one of my mom's like best friends actually works at a staffing agency, and she hooked me up with the job I'm at now. Um, I'm
mm,
definitely a lot. I took a pay cut, and so I'm not making as much money, and like, um, but like I'm so much happier because like that I was working like 60 to 65 hours a week, and just like didn't have time for shit because my commute was like 45 minutes too. Um, and I
oof,
just I didn't realize how much it sucked until I found something else, you know.
mm,
So
yeah. So I guess okay, this I wonder then, like, why don't if you are into sales and marketing, why would you not just go out and work for David and like do sales and marketing stuff? But he's opening a bunch of restaurants and stuff too, right?
yeah, he's opening
Plus, I mean, go ahead.
a pizza
Sorry.
shop in LA within within the next year at the most. Um, and he actually like when I was a couple months before I graduated and I was looking for jobs. Um, I I thought the same exact thing. I was like, oh, I'm in marketing. That's fucking perfect. I have like the best guy on the planet for that. Um,
Yeah.
so I called him and asked him, and then he called me back like a week later, and he's like, "Hey, you want to be Jason's assistant?" Like, no. But then like
Huh.
like you said, like looking back on it, I'm like, you know what? That sounded like fuck no. Like, cause the reason I didn't take it was obviously like I didn't go to college for something like that. But looking back at it,
Sure.
like there would have been so many opportunities. Um,
Yeah. And I mean, it's so rare to be able to capture that much attention and kind of to provide a little context for people that are listening that may not even know that who the hell is David. We're talking about David Dobrik, who's like one of your childhood best friends. And for people who don't even know who that is, he's a massive YouTube creator. He's got like 2 billion views on YouTube. He used to vlog back in the day. Now he does the podcast and plays video games with you guys. But you know, I felt like that's kind of one of the things I was like, well, why the hell are you working at a mortgage job when you could like, even if you were Jason's assistant, like, I mean, what do you want to do long term? Like, what's the vision? What would you ideally like to do?
so right now, I'm actually looking for a new job. I want to do like sales analytics, um, which is like, I mean, my job is analytical right now, but it's not like sales based. It's like I was strictly with loans. Um,
Hmm.
so, and I mean, it's just on top of that, like obviously COVID makes it tough to find a job too. Um,
Right.
but yeah, like super long term, I honestly don't know. But I mean, as far as like my next job, definitely something in sales analytics.
Because I do feel like, going to college now, I think is kind of overrated. unless you go to like Stanford or Harvard, people are like,
Yeah.
oh wow, And it seems like the same thing. Like even if you were Jason's assistant or you did some job, like if you go like you put that on your resume, and people be like, oh shit, you were Jason Nash's assistant. It like would give you a different, interesting work history than I sold loans at a. I'm not telling you to quit your job, but I mean, I was just wondering, like, do you consider and factor any of that stuff in? Because even if, I mean, if they're like, yeah, do you want to be Jason's assistant? Like, yeah, sure, you're right, because there's going to be a ton of opportunities that present itself. Is that, are you looking to, is that even a possibility for you to like go out there and work? Because I mean, he has merch and all that stuff. I feel like your sales and marketing skills could be useful somewhere within the David Dobrik enterprise.
That's something I've thought about. Is like if I would have done that, um, it definitely could. It would have been maybe taking a step back initially. Like I would have just felt like I wasted my 4 years of college. But I think it's like taking one step back to take like five forward, looking back at it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, especially with like what I wanted to do with like marketing. Um, so yeah, plus like just
Well,
seeing what
because
everybody else, like what his entire friend group out there, like what happened to all of them. The second
right,
he got a finger on him, it's like crazy. But I didn't
right.
think of that happening to me because I'm like, oh, they're all like really good on camera and like they're hilarious.
Hmm.
I'm like, that's not me.
Hmm.
Maybe it's
Although and we'll get into that. I've got some notes to talk about on the vlogs that you've been in, but I mean, but even then, like, I still feel, I don't know. I just feel like it's such a rare opportunity to have someone capture that much attention that it's like, especially when he would want to help you too. I mean, it seems like that's kind of in his nature. Like,
right.
man, you should jump on that. And it's weird too because like I saw him, he was streaming, and I had it on the background, and he made John bet him that if you guys won
You saw that?
some, I don't know. Yeah, dude. And he was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I made a bet on Call of Duty." I'm thinking like, dude, like what job you have right now? There's no way it could be as cool as going out there. Not saying like it's everything's awesome when you're in that, but still, I mean, I just think there's so much upside potential. Like just get in and start wherever and then work your way up. Like, how come there's it's like why was John ups? I mean, obviously he bet his future on a video game. That's probably not not the smartest thing, but like, why was he upset about it?
Because one just kind of I don't know if you kind of got a vibe of like what his sort of personality is, but he's definitely like a homebody. He just kind of likes
Mm,
to like be in his comfort zone, and that he's very very close with his family, whereas like me, David, like Mike, we're not quite as close, so we would have no problem moving out there. um
mm,
but he's like very close to them, so I think that's a big part of it for him. Plus he would be feel like he's taking 25 steps back because his degree um was in like biochem. um
mm,
So obviously, there's nothing with like fucking chemicals or some shit that he could really, do with David. Um, so yeah, that's mostly why for him, just because like working at a pizza shop, even though like the opportunities in the future are huge, because he like got in early, he would just feel like he wasted the last like 6 years.
mm. Yeah, maybe it's just a different perspective because I'm older, but I mean,
Well, that's a good
if you're gonna
perspective to
work your
get.
whole life,
Like, if you were
I
like
just feel like,
20,
go ahead.
if you were like
Hmm.
20 and you were telling me this, I would be like, mm, like I'm just gonna like try to stick to the more like normal path that I'm doing right now. But since like you're a
Hmm.
little older, you've seen, you know, um, a lot of shit
Well, here's the
professionally.
yeah, dude,
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I would say here's the deal. Like there's only you're going to work a lot of your life. So you should, I mean, if you could be around your friends and do something that's entertaining, even let's say worst case scenario, you it doesn't work, you have to come back. Still, when you go in and apply, they will look at your resume and see, oh, you worked for David Dobrik at whatever, or that's a whole different, like, it gives you automatically, it sets you apart from everybody else. You know what I mean? Like everybody else that worked at some random mortgage company or whatever, like they're seeing those same people every interview.
Sure.
But yours would have this a totally separate, unique thing. I think it actually benefits you. So when you guys look at it as taking steps back, I don't see that at all. Like even if you, it's not like you couldn't quit, do something else for 3 years, and come back and get a sales and marketing job. If anything, I think it improves your chances of getting a sales and marketing job because you could say I was close to this person that's an insane marketer, one of the best, around right now.
Right.
I mean, his TikToks blow. Like you could say, I saw how he creates content, how he does his marketing. It's like, and now if I own a company and I need someone to market, I definitely want you to be part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry, I'm getting off on a
No,
tangent.
you're
I just
fine.
think it's an
I
incredible.
think it's cool that like
Go ahead.
this isn't um like it's making me think. It's not like I'm just blabbing on about whatever. This is like
Hmm.
helpful for me too.
Okay, good, good. Now I do want to talk about a couple things. First of all, David almost killed you with a pine cone.
Ah, okay.
I mean, that's like because
Oh, you know what
staph
it
can
is?
be fatal. Yeah,
Okay.
go. Yeah, oh yeah, I know what staph is. I did jujitsu for a while. I can't say I do it now because then my friends would call me out for it. But so like anybody that grapples is well aware of what staph is. So, um, can you kind of like explain that story? And I have some follow-up questions because in the vlog that you guys do together, it's just like, oh yeah, this happened. I'm like, wait, what the hell? Why were you having to
Wait,
be
you
on
want to say hi
crutches
to
for
Mike?
4 years? Yeah, sure.
Okay, Mike, come here. Mike, there's no way you're already pooping. I don't think he's coming. He'll be back later.
All
I'm
right,
sorry.
cool.
I'm sorry. Well, I just figured that would be
No, no, no.
cool to throw him in there.
Yeah, for sure. So tell me the pine cone story. You guys were having a pine cone fight, seventh grade, right?
Hmm.
A pine cone hits you in the eye. You don't think anything of it, but it turns into a staph infection, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, it was a good like short and sweet way to put it. Yeah, we were just yeah, it was like dodgeball, but we didn't have dodgeball, so we played pine cones. Um, and he
Right.
got one of those fuckers that was um, like the green, um, like heavier, kind of like
Oh, okay.
more
It's like
dense.
ripe still.
Yeah, yeah, it's red.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, hit me in the eye and like right below my eye, and I had like a scab there for a few weeks or whatever, and I'm like the worst with picking scabs. And like my mom always
Okay.
told me not to, like you're gonna get an infection or whatever. Sure enough, like I'm I just start kind of feeling like I have the flu type of symptoms, and then all of a sudden, after like a few days of that, my fucking hip is just like in excruciating pain, and um, they they told me that like after they got the infection out, that if it would have been in there for another 24 hours, I would have lost my leg, and another 48,
Jeez.
and I would have been.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's insane.
I was like, thanks,
So,
Doc.
so they get the infection out, and then how the hell do you end up on crutches for 4 years?
um, it was like it was actually not. I was on crutches for like a couple months after that, but then I
Okay.
got off. I was like not 100%, but I was like pretty good for like a year or so, and then um, all of a sudden, I don't know, like what happened, but um, it was just like hurting all the time, and like my range of motion was really, really bad. So they wanted my doctor just like told me like to keep staying on crutches, and then finally after like um, it was like right after junior year of high school. I'm just like, because I could walk, they just like didn't want me to because of like the impact that would have put, because I had like a bunch of fractures in like my femur and everything. Um, so like he told me that like he wouldn't recommend it, and then but like I would walk around my house and shit, but it was like at school, which is like obviously somewhere that like you're in the public eye, like you care about what people think. So I was like self conscious as fuck about it. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? If I can walk, like I'm just gonna fucking walk. Like why not? At the like end of my junior year, I don't want to like this to be my entire high school. Like fuck that. Um,
Hmm.
so then I just ever since then like I just never went back to it, and I was fine. It hasn't really gotten worse, hasn't gotten better. So
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask because I think someone in that vlog said that you had to get a hip replacement, which is normally like a old guy thing. So,
yeah,
and they try to like even with old people, they try to put off doing it as long as they can because it only lasts like 20 years. So, what's the status now? Do you need to have a hip replacement?
yeah. So actually, this is a great time for that. So in at the beginning of December, I went to, I don't know if you know what the Mayo Clinic is.
Yeah,
Okay, so they're kind of like a more progressive,
the like the top.
innovative, yeah,
Yeah,
like top of the line shit. So I went there, drove like 5.5 hours up to Minnesota with my mom, to go just like get a consultation from an orthopedic surgeon, and um, just basically what they were telling me is like to wait until you absolutely like can't take the pain anymore. Um,
yeah.
and I was like, okay, well, I'm not really in like that much pain. Like I'm cool. I'm fine with it. I'm used to it. So like, I'm just not gonna get one until like I really need it. Um, but like the only issue is just my range of motion is like terrible. But I'm not
Mm,
necessarily in like pain. So, anyways, so they were like obviously wanting me to wait as long as possible to get it. And when I get it, I can be like, like walk normally and like quote unquote be normal or whatever. Um, but they wanted me to wait as long as possible so that I don't have to get like seven of them, because
mm,
like you said, they last like 15 to 20 years, and then each one you get lasts less time. So,
right.
um, and then I just went out there for a consultation, and they literally just told me like, yeah, we've seen so much worse shit than this. Like, this is vanilla. He literally said this is
Mm.
vanilla. I'm like, dude, thank you for telling everybody. All these other doctors in the past like 12 years have been telling me I'm special and shit. I'm like, I'm tired of hearing that. Like, yeah, cool. Thank you for like making me sound like I'm unique or something. But like, it was good to hear that like my case was just fucking like a run of the mill kind of thing for them. And then so they wanted me to get an MRI. So I'm actually getting that on Monday, and then once like we're gonna fax that over to the surgeon at the Mayo Clinic and schedule that in like March or something. So
Hmm.
I'm fucking,
Okay.
I'm pumped. I'm so pumped.
So yeah, and so you guys kind of joked about it on the vlog, but I'm assuming like he must have felt terrible, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it was any like
I mean, it's not his fault. It's not his fault, but
exact.
still, like if he hadn't thrown that pine cone, it wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like I would still feel like, damn, dude, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? Like even though we were
Yeah,
messing around, I don't know.
yeah, no,
It's still, yeah.
he does, but it's shit happens.
Okay. And then something I picked up somewhere, I think, in one of the vlogs. Did you get arrested your freshman year of college?
Yes, he did.
Okay, can you tell that story?
Yeah, this is a funny one. So, um, I was um really big into weed my like freshman year of college, and just because like I was going to community college, so there was like David was
Yeah.
gone. Ilya had just started at his plumbing company, like, and he was running that shit, so he was busy as fuck. Mike was at college, John was away at college, so I kind of just had like a couple like like weed friends, and that was
Hmm.
like after class, after work, we would just fucking smoke every day and just like not do shit. So, um, one of my friends was back from college for like a some type of break, and me and one of my other buddies, we were there's like this spot called Indian Creek. It's like a little neighborhood that it's like private, so cops can't go in it unless they're like called there. So that's like where
Okay.
everybody went to like go hotbox their cars in like the gas parking lots.
Okay.
So um we were doing that. We just hotboxed like two fucking blunts. So obviously the car fucking it was
Okay.
this other girl that was visiting back home from college, who was driving, and so the car like fucking reeked because it was winter, so we didn't open the windows because it would have been fucking freezing.
Right.
And um so then it's 12:45 in the morning, and we're driving over to McDonald's, which is like right across the fucking street. And it was like um it was like two pretty like main roads, and we were turning right on a red, and and then the cop coming the other way like had the green to go, like, so we were turning right on red, and then the cop coming the other way had the green to go into like our same lane, and
Hmm.
there was two lanes going that way, and she not only did not stop, but she also turned
Mm.
into the wrong lane, and
Ooh.
she also
Yeah.
didn't really see she didn't see the cop, and so she didn't
Yeah.
even see that there was like a car there, I don't think, and she completely like cut him off. And then my friend in the back, he's like, yo, I think you just cut off a cop. And I'm flipping the fuck out. And sure enough, the next turn we make, like to go to McDonald's, we see the lights go on, and he like, um, oh my god, dude, fuck, that was such a bad time. Yeah, then so we yeah, just all got arrested for possession,
Okay.
and um,
So weed's not legal in Illinois.
at the time it wasn't. They actually legalized
Okay.
it a year ago.
Okay.
So, but now
Because I
I don't
actually
really
grew
like
cannabis
care
for
for it.
6 years. That was like what I was doing.
What do you say?
I said I actually grew cannabis for 6 years. That was like my job before my job
Oh,
now.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do now?
I work in an accounting department. It's not cool. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's good. It's fine, but it's not like it's like your job.
It's yeah.
It's not. You know what
How
I
long
mean?
have you
It's
been
just like a 2.5 years. But I'm working on some side hustles. Like that isn't where I plan on staying. You know what I mean?
there? Sure.
Like I plan on building some other stuff. So, um, anyway, okay. So you get so you got arrested for possession,
Hmm.
which sucks. Because can you get that off your record now because it is legal?
Yeah, I was able to get it off my record. I just had to do
Okay, cool.
what was it? It's like 30 hours of community service, and then you know it just cost me a lot of fucking money, with like
Okay.
the fines and then my lawyer fees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that sucked. But I mean, that's a good memory.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, my mom, who's in her 60s, her and my aunts, they opened a dispensary after I started growing. So yeah, we were we were heavy in the industry for a while. Um, okay, so I didn't know who David was until for like I was aware of him. He was in the zeitgeist, but I didn't really like I didn't know. It was more like, oh yeah, I think he does something on the internet or whatever. And then at one point, the Borat video he did showed up on my
Oh, you didn't discover him till
on my
then.
feed. Yeah, I had no idea.
Wow.
I mean, I knew who he was, but I had
Okay.
not seen anything on YouTube until then. And then I just like this is how I get like I was like, oh man, that was pretty funny. And it was more like I was like, oh, I like Borat, he's funny, and I've been meaning to check out David Dobrik because he kind of exists in this space that I should probably understand better.
Sure.
So, but then I got like I was like, oh man, this is pretty funny, and so I went on the YouTube rabbit holes and I was like watching all kinds of stuff. So and like I was telling you, I found a playlist of new Alex vlogs. I think you've been in 38, according to. Thank you to whoever
Oh my
put
God.
that together because
Send that to
it
me.
made it nice.
Let's
I
see
was
that.
able. Okay, I will. I will. I'll send it to you. One question I did have though, like as I was thinking about this, I was watching like when you're applying for jobs or when you go to like family functions or is there ever because I mean you do some crazy stuff even though you say you're not good on camera like there's some stuff some things I want to ask about specifically later on but is there ever I feel like if I was doing that stuff in the vlog like even now being 43 my mom would call me and be like what are you doing you know what I mean like and if I was applying for a job I'd be worried that they'd see me in these vlogs is there anything like that for you.
Um, Give me an example because I can't think of anything that would like affect my professional.
So, like, have you ever had you go out to
Oh,
LA
like when I'm
and you end
hammered or
up,
some shit like that.
yes,
Okay.
yes, and then you come back to work, and it's probably a couple days before the vlog gets posted, but
Yeah.
then after you know it's posted, does anyone say anything to you like, oh god, like it's not even the words like bad, but maybe just kind of embarrassing or
Um. Yeah, there's definitely been some embarrassing shit for sure. Um.
has your mom called and said, I can't believe you did, whatever.
Nah, she just thinks it's funny. I mean, she thinks we're like crazy, but
Okay,
it's like 24, or back then I was like 20, so
for sure.
she gets it.
Okay. So it hasn't been because I was thinking, man, I just feel like I'd be worried that people at work would be like, oh, I saw you pass out in the toilet. You're like, oh man,
I haven't
but there hasn't been really.
um like like one or two people at work like people I don't even like work with, like I don't even know who they are, but they'll like um just came up to me, or like one of them even like IM'd me on like our Skype thing at work that has like everybody from the company in it. Uh,
Yeah.
like just saying they saw me like in this one video doing this, and so I was like, oh wow, I didn't think anybody at this boring ass office would watch his videos.
Yeah, because I mean, and we were talking about this a little bit before we started the pod. I was kind of doing some just I don't know research to see who knew who because at 43 I didn't know who he was until I watched the Borat video but it does seem like 25 is the hard cutoff 25 and under are like
Totally.
totally know who he is he's very famous in their world and above that it's crazy because it's almost like hit and miss and the internet has created this disruption where before if you were famous the large majority of people knew who you were. If you were an athlete or an actor or something, like the majority of people knew who you were. But with the internet, it's kind of you can have someone who has 2 billion YouTube views and people over 30 don't really know who he is, which is weird.
It is weird because yeah, if it's like, you know, some type of, like, let's say a professional athlete, then it's like it's split by, like, the people who know him are split by like people who watch sports and people who don't. But for him, instead of that like being the like demographic, it's strictly age. Like, if, like you said, if anybody under 25, like literally everybody under that age knows who he is. Anybody over, it's kind of like most really don't.
But even with sports, if you're not a sports fan, you still will know
That's
like
true.
who LeBron James is. You know what I mean? You'll still have some understanding of who people are, and that's what's been surprising to me is that under 25 he's like wildly famous, and then over 25 it's like hit and miss. Most people don't know who he is, and it kind of I was wondering like for you, have you had that same experience? Because when we were DMing back and forth. I said something about, I'll try not to keep it too long because I don't want to, interrupt you guys playing Call of Duty. And then I said, is that weird that some random guy from Salem knows you're playing Call of Duty? And you're like, I never really thought of that, but yeah, it is. You called me a creep, but you know, is that is that what is that weird? I mean, do you have people stop you on the street? Like, is it weird to be sort of famous?
It's awesome. I mean, like at least me,
Okay.
I fucking I love attention, So um, I don't care what it's for. Like, um, yeah. I mean, I'll say like on the inside, like yes, I like it, but then in the moment, it depending on how the person goes about it, like yeah, I might react like I don't handle it the best. Like I don't know what to say. Because for
Hmm.
David, it's obviously like happens all the fucking time. So he's really good at it. It's kind of like a skill sort of. But like when it happens to me, it catches me
Yeah.
off guard. Um, so it can be a little weird, but I
How do people come at you when it feels weird? Like, what's the best way to approach you?
um don't be like super fangirly. Just be like, hey, like I like see you in David videos, like, and I think you're really funny. Like so, I don't know, it's just something like genuine and not like super in your face. That's weird. Unless like
The
some
energy, yeah.
really hot girl and she's fucking like hugging me and some shit. But like I'll definitely say like the way not to or like I don't give a shit, right? How people do it. It's like I'm not gonna be offended or like annoyed or anything because it doesn't happen enough. But what I think is
Yeah.
really funny is when people like sometimes when people literally would go, they would just be like, David Dobrik? And like when he's not even around me, right? It's just me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I know what you mean, but I'm not him.
Yeah.
I think that shit is the funniest where because that's just like their jerk reaction. And I
Hmm.
don't know. I just think that's so funny.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay. All
'Cause
right.
it's like I don't think you're going about
Okay.
this the right way, but yeah, I guess.
Okay, so I have a couple scenarios that came up in the vlog. I kind of want to mention them and then kind of get the bigger story behind it, maybe add a little context to what happened. So, um, the first one is the World Series
Mm.
tickets. So that was 2016, right?
Yeah,
Okay, and as a long-suffering Cubs fan, can you tell me you went to which game did you go to,
game five.
and can you kind of talk about the experience?
Yeah, it was so cool because that was actually not only the first like surprise that David got me, but that was like I was the first person to ever be surprised by anything like big on his videos. Um,
Oh, cool.
so like it was obviously like super unexpected because um, that was especially for like Chicagoans, that was a huge deal. Like that was all anybody was talking about for that entire like month or two of that postseason. Um, and like watching the games every night. Like nobody was not watching that. And um, in one of my classes in college, like one of the guys was saying there was like it was really hard to get tickets for retail price. Obviously, you could get them resold for like fucking 10 grand or whatever.
Right.
Um, but it's kind of like when new Jordans come out or something, or like the PS5. You got to be like lucky
Hmm.
as fuck and really quick. And
Right.
one guy in our class actually said that he was able to get his hands on tickets for like game 1 or 2 or something like that. And I was like, "Fuck, he's so fucking lucky." And then all of a sudden, I was I had tickets to a Schoolboy Q concert Schoolboy Q and Joey Badass up in at the rave in Milwaukee, and with my buddy, and he kept like bugging me. He was like, "Yo, come down to U of I, um, with like me and Ilya and I think like Mike or whoever else." Um, and I was like, "No, I can't. Like, I got this concert to go to. Like, I've been looking forward to it forever. I'm like huge into concerts." And
Okay.
and he was like, "No, no, no, just come. Like, I'm telling you, it's gonna be so fun." And I don't know what he said to convince me. He's really good with that shit. Um, but he needed me to come down there, um, to to give me the tickets. Um, and so I like went all the way down there. Told my buddy like, "Hey, I'm sorry, like I can't make it anymore. I'll be at U of I." And then I get down and he he like just hands me this envelope, and like I just open it up and it says like Cubs World Series. I literally could not fucking believe what I was seeing. It was insane. Like they hadn't been to one for it was 108 years at the time, and I was like, and I get to go to the like that was nuts, dude. Especially because it was with Mike, and he's like a huge Cubs fan too, and he's like my oldest friend in that friend group. I've been friends with him since like fucking fifth grade. Um,
Hmm.
so and plus
And what game did you say it was?
it was game five.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Nice.
plus, even though we were like literally could not be any further away, the seats, it was probably one of the best seats in the house because it was, you know how Wrigley has bleachers,
Yes.
so there's no backs on any of the seats, um,
Yeah.
and like it's just out in the open, so it's like, at that time of the year it was cold as fuck, and
Yeah.
but we were actually in the very last row, dead center, right under the scoreboard. So, and under the
Wow.
scoreboard, I obviously didn't know this because I had never sat up there. Um, right under the scoreboard, only in the very last row, there's fucking heaters.
Oh wow.
We were warm as fuck. We had like a perfectly centered view of the field. It was just like the most fucking cinematic thing I've ever seen. It was insane.
Nice. So you're a huge fan of Seat Geek, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And then I want to know you've been in the same room as an alligator and a baby grizzly. When David says, "Hey, we're gonna have to blindfold you," and like, what is that feeling? Because I mean, it looks like everyone's terrified, but like you've actually done it. What happens to you when he says, "Hey, we're just gonna blindfold you and have you sit here"? Like, what are you thinking?
I didn't like it. Like I was very reluctant to do it, and then when it's on, like the entire time, I was so fucking like jittery. But
Yeah.
then like after the fact, you're like, okay, I was being kind of a pussy. Like it's David. Obviously, he's not gonna do anything to like fuck me up, especially because it's putting it on YouTube for millions of people to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, but you're still, I mean, you're still dealing with a baby grizzly and an alligator. I mean, it's still
yeah,
pretty
I
scary
mean,
stuff.
yeah, you never know what the hell could happen, but I mean, he does get like the best of the best, people when he does that kind of stuff. So,
Sure.
I mean, I don't
But it's still, I feel like anxiety, it would be like a lot of anxiety.
know. Like with the blindfold on, or once you see,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because that seems like it's almost probably the worst part, right? Because when you can't see what it is.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then he buys you a Mercedes, says it's for his dad. So were you? I mean, because it seems like it would be almost hard to be his friend because you never know. Like, if he showed up and made Ilya come to some concert with, you know, what I mean, it's like, did you have any idea? Because you almost didn't believe it at the time. It seemed like in the car, like you were like, this is definitely not. You're lying, right? And so, first of all, what were you driving before that?
I was driving a 2001 Hyundai Sonata that was like it was such perfect timing. That thing was on its last fucking leg, dude. Like I would, um, I was living in a fraternity house, and maybe only like half of the guys in the house had a car, so um, we would like give each other rides everywhere. Like everyone's car was always like fucking packed, and so like if I had people in the back of my car and I was going over like any little change in elevation, it would literally fucking bottom out. It was so it was terrible. It was probably not safe to be driving in. And then
Okay.
yeah, and then he gave me that. It was just like perfect timing. Because I don't
And are you still driving that?
the Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Um, and then one that I used a lot, I like when I would try to tell people like, hey, you should check out David Dobrik's blogs. One of the ones I would pass along was when he paid off your college tuition. Like he is the king of the reaction, of capturing people's reactions. And I think that's what's made part of what's made him so popular is that I mean, like you can't like he said he's kind of a sucker for those too, but
Right.
I mean it's so I mean I still like when I watch it, I see your emotion, I still get choked up, you know? Can you kind of talk about like what that was like when you I mean this gives you a MacBook first, like I was like, damn, that's a crazy good gift, and then it's like, oh yeah, and then by the way, here's a check for 25 grand. Can you kind of talk about just that whole experience?
Yeah. So when I don't know when he first like I was getting ready, like putting my suit on and like the gown or whatever, in my room, and I was in a fucking rush because the night before, everybody was out at the bars, like everybody just got fucking hammered. Um,
Yeah.
so to like celebrate graduation or whatever. So I was like really hungover um and like running late, honestly, for graduation, and so I was like in a rush, kind of just like you know just kind of like out of it, and then all of a sudden he shows up, and I like instantly sobered up. I was like, that just like, I was like, fuck, I don't want to go to this fucking graduation. Like, this shit's gonna be boring as fuck. But like, I'm doing
Yeah.
it for my parents basically because I know that they want to see it. Um, and then yeah, the second he gets there, I kind of like snap out of it. I'm like, oh, wow, like he fucking came all the way out because that school is in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's a depressing ass town.
Hmm.
Like,
Okay.
and I was like, oh wow, like that's really fucking cool that he came all the way out here. But I was like, I knew it, but at the same time, like, why would he want to come here? um, and then yeah, when he after the graduation, he was like, we were gonna go out to dinner like with my family, and but he had to go. I don't know if he had like catch his flight or like I forgot what he had to do, but he obviously had to do this first before he left, to go do whatever he needed to do. So um, he was like, "Can you do your dinner after? Like, can you come back to your house?" And I was like, "Yeah, like that's fine. We can put it off until later." Like, because he told me he needed to go. I was like, "Yeah, it's cool." Um, so we went back to like my room at our fraternity house, and um, the second he got the camera out, I was like, I kind of had a feeling, but I did not expect the fucking tuition, you know.
Sure.
Um, and the MacBook, I was like, dude, this is like I've always wanted a MacBook. Like I'm using it right now. Like they're so fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then like when I was reading the card, I was like really into the card. He's kind of good at like writing, you know, sappy kind of shit. So I was like
Okay.
actually really into like the message of the card, and then all of a sudden I see like I just find myself reading out loud. Um, Here's a check to pay off your tuition. I just like started like slowing my words down because I was like, wait,
Hmm.
what does that mean? And I was like, oh shit. It was so cool.
Yeah.
And I just, dude, I have never cried so hard and like so continuously throughout one day. It was insane. My face was literally numb. Like I couldn't
Hmm.
it felt like I was like my mouth was like paralyzed. I literally my lips were numb, like I couldn't talk. It was nuts. And then like
Huh.
I swear the rest of the day I probably cried like at least 10 times. That was definitely the
Huh.
coolest one
That's
he
awesome.
did by far. He just
Yeah.
went about it in a really good way too, with like the card and everything.
Huh.
So
Okay. And your family was all there. Yeah, it was like the
yeah, that made it even better.
he's so,
Like
he's
my
so
family
good
was
at that,
there, my
dude.
roommate, like one of my best friend was there, so that was sick.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, and then this one's probably not as cool as that one, but can you tell me a story? Because and we referenced it earlier, but you're at one point passed out on the toilet, like
Ah,
passed out
fuck.
on the toilet. I mean, they're like yelling at you, like Alex, and you like non-responsive. I mean, yeah, like can you tell me what the hell happened to get you there? And then, like, is there ever a point where you're like, hey, could you maybe not put that in the vlog or shorten that up or like can you tell me about that time there?
Um, I that was just one of those ones where it's like I was also um like that was when I was still going to community college, so I hadn't really been drinking much at that point. Like I didn't know my limits or anything like that. And I was like, oh fuck it, it's New Year's. Like, I
Okay.
am just going in on this. And like
Okay.
then yeah, all of a sudden I literally just woke up on the fucking toilet. Like it was just yeah, you know how I mean
I'm
everyone goes through that where it's like 1 second you're fine and the next second you're like waking up somewhere that you don't want to be. Um
Yeah, the difference is mine didn't I was lucky enough mine didn't get filmed,
yeah,
it's seen by a lot of people, so it's like yeah, it's just man, it's crazy, but the cool thing is like that's captured now forever, like, and it's weird because I was wondering about that too. Do you ever go back and watch the vlogs and think because like even in the college graduation one, like he's really good at or I don't know if he edits all his own stuff, but like the music always seems to really match, and like
he's really good at
the song that he put there when you were, you're jumping and say, "Hey, we gonna made it," like it, like just fit that whole thing. And it's like, I wonder, do you go back and watch it? Like, man, this looks a lot cooler than it actually was in the moment.
that. Yeah, like so that the one with when I was on the toilet, when he like when when it
It's not
initially
a sentence you usually start,
when I
but yeah, go ahead.
first like came back to consciousness and saw the camera, I'm like, fuck, he got me. Um, but I was like, oh, this is like definitely gonna be embarrassing, but like I can't tell him no. Like this is good material. Like I knew that in the back,
Yeah, it's awesome
so I
content
can't
for
tell him
sure.
no. But if I asked, like he would definitely have no problem not putting it in. But then like after probably like the first few weeks, when I looked back at it, I was like, oh, that's like I'm so happy he posted it. It's just the cool thing about his career is that you instead of like remembering things and thinking of them, you can just fucking see them. And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that's like what's really cool about it. And obviously like anything that is a good memory, like that's worthy to be a memory, he's obviously going to put on film. So it's
Hmm.
like yeah, it's pretty sweet. And,
Okay, and then last kind of, I want to talk some sports too, but
all right.
the last kind of YouTube type question. So I have a couple friends that are teachers, elementary and middle school teachers, and every kid want their ultimate dream and goal now is to be a YouTuber. So it's not, like when I was growing up, it was like to be playing the NBA or like be an actor or whatever. And now,
Yeah.
like, it's been replaced by being a social media star. And I guess I kind of I kind of want to know, as someone who's sort of watched on the fringe, what what do you? Because my impression from way far away is that guy was posting 3 times a week consistently for years. He was hitting the vine, like he just was obsessive about the posting. So it seems like that was a lot of it to me. And then he has a bunch of skill sets inside of that, was good at editing and all that stuff. But from someone that was actually involved and so close, can you kind of talk about what you think has made him so successful?
It's just his like relentlessness. He he doesn't he almost like puts it before his well-being. Literally, like he was staying when he was on that like fucking hot streak where he was posting 3 times a week. I mean, he was literally staying up until like 6 a.m. editing, and he would start at you know like 10 p.m. He obviously like um, getting the footage is a lot of it's more work than some people might think, because a lot of shit doesn't even make it and doesn't even work out, even though they're only 4 minute videos. That's like several hours, like dozens of hours just for one video. Um,
Hmm.
and then on top of that, he's editing for each video at least 6 hours of editing, anywhere from like 6 to 10 hours. Um, and then he would literally like he would post Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and so let's say he gets done editing and he posts at like 6 a.m. Then he'll sleep till noon or whatever, and then he doesn't he's not satisfied. you know he wakes up and he's like, all right, what are we doing? Or he'll like already have something planned. He's just never satisfied, and that's like I think definitely a big key. Like even though he's happy and thankful to be where he's at, um, he's just like, I need more. You know?
And is it kind of like one of those? Did you watch The Last Dance,
Yeah,
the Michael Jordan doc?
yeah.
So is it more like that where he, because he's around a bunch of other now very successful social media personalities, does he still stand out above them too? Kind of like Jordan did?
Oh yeah, for sure. I
Okay.
mean, um, they're all really, really funny and cool people. Like I wouldn't even say he couldn't have done it without them. Like they made it, um, incredible. But he would have found the right people somehow. You know,
Hmm.
um, it's just obviously they were easier to find because most of them were from Vine, and he came from Vine too. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I mean, he definitely. It's kind of like they're all definitely creative and smart and hilarious people in their own right, but probably like owe a lot of it to him because he kind of gave them like an insight into like a blueprint almost on like how this shit's done.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay.
Obviously, like the
Um,
exposure to you know they get like an automatic following. Like even I have a at least more than most people, not huge or anything, but like I got like 25,000 followers on Instagram, and it's like
mhm.
that was just handed to me literally on a fucking silver plate.
Yeah. And now, does that come with like a bunch of DMs and stuff? Because you never really sure. Like, if I look and you have 25,000, if someone has that many Instagram followers, I'm like, if I DM, they might respond to me. And you got back pretty quickly. Like, are you inundated with a bunch of DMs, and are they all related to, hey, can you tell David I said hi or something like that? Or
I would say maybe around like a little less than half of them are like asking some kind of like favor or just like a tell David I said hi type of thing.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, like I read every single one of them because I don't get like a crazy amount. So I was
Okay.
just like curious to see, what people are saying.
Okay. And so in one of the vlogs, you were wearing a Green Bay Packers hat, which seemed
Oh
like
yes,
David didn't know what that team was. So are you a Packer fan?
huge Packer fan.
Okay, so you're stoked for this weekend then.
Yeah, dude, I'm so pumped.
Okay, can you give me a breakdown and a prediction of what you think is going to happen?
Um, I think Brady's gonna break down in the cold weather. I just,
Okay,
I know he played in New
okay.
England for his whole career, and it's almost as cold there. But I mean, what success did he really have in the cold weather the last few years? Like last year, he he just fell flat on his face against Tennessee, and then the year before that, um, like yeah, they won the Super Bowl, but how many points in the AFC Championships against the Chiefs? How many points did they score? Like 9 or 15 to win that game. So that was a cold weather game,
Okay.
and so I just think that obviously like yeah he's used to the cold weather, but that doesn't mean he's good at it anymore because he's old as fuck.
Well, he did throw 44 touchdowns, I think, though, this year. Probably, I mean,
Did he really?
it's-
Shit.
I think so, yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Give me a prediction, though. What do you think the score is going to be?
Something like 38-28,
Okay.
and I
All
think
right.
they'll get like a lot of garbage time points. I think the Packers are gonna like handle their business pretty well, and then they'll
Okay.
get some garbage time points.
Okay. And more importantly, do you have any superstitions you do to make sure you can help the Packers win?
Hmm. Honestly, no. I'm not really
No? Okay.
superstitious.
Okay. All right. And then I want to finally talk about NBA stuff because we started talking about NBA. I just had mentioned Jordan. I was like, it's too bad you're not old enough to have seen him play live. And you were like, yeah, the NBA is trash now. Like,
Yeah.
and I kind of pushed back because I do think like it's a crazy thing that like the players now are so skilled. It's incredible. And I coached high school hoops for a little while,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and I have a friend. Well, I knew one of the guys I coached against is now like the number two guy with the Nuggets, and he was talking to some coaches about it. And he was saying, like the thing you don't appreciate about NBA players is how good they really are because they're so good they make everything look easy,
Yeah.
you know. So, who do you have a favorite NBA team?
The Bulls, but I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, they're not.
going right now.
Yeah.
So like
Do you
I
have
root
a
for I'm a huge LeBron fan. So like I root for the
okay,
Bulls.
okay. And are you a LeBron fan just because he's been the best player of this generation or
I mean, I was born in '96. He was drafted in what,
Jesus?
03.
That's when I graduated high school too, by the way. But anyway, continue.
So he was drafted in '02 or '03 or whatever it was. So that was
I think '03. Yeah.
right when that's when I started playing basketball, and he was obviously like the fucking star of the league at like being one of the youngest or the youngest player. So that's kind of where I just like started following him, and then I don't know, I kind of just I like grew up on him, kind of um, it's
Okay.
like it's really cool to see how he's developed. Like he was, you know, kind of like he was super athletic, but he wasn't like filled out really. He wasn't necessarily as like he could ball, but he wasn't nearly as smart. Like now, within the last um like 6 or 7 years or so, he's just so fucking smart and like he's literally just he's a wizard with that ball. Like I think he's the best point guard in the league, and he's not even a point guard.
And he's still athletic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like
Right.
you can say, "Oh, he's smart and all this stuff," but dude, he still is a crazy athlete. And I will go to my grave saying Michael Jordan was the best player ever. And I think it's hard to compare eras because
So
the case you make for LeBron being better than Jordan is that he's had this 17-year string of just high level, and Jordan's was a smaller window. But it's hard because if you put Jordan in 2020 with the rule changes, with understanding the science of taking care of your body better, I mean that might change too. So I think it's hard to compare eras, but I mean what LeBron is doing right now is insane.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
And so, how come you're not? If you're a Packer fan, why aren't you? Because yeah, I was kind of surprised. Like, why aren't you a Bears fan?
So when my dad is a Packers fan, and that's because when he was
Mm,
growing up, the Bears were so bad, and they literally didn't have any fans at their games, so they were blacked out on TV. So they put the Packers on instead.
mm,
So
okay.
he just kind of grew up watching the Packers.
Hmm. So you're not. I mean, you could become a Bucks fan if you like Green Bay. I mean, you could become a Bucks fan because I mean, Giannis is pretty sick too.
I, you know, the Bulls were, I mean, they were bad when I was like little. Um, when they had like when Heinrich was like in his prime, and they like Tyus Thomas and all that shit. And when Rose
Mm-hmm.
came along, I think I was probably like 11, 13 years old, something like that. I was like, I was locked in to the Bulls like forever. So like I'll never,
Okay.
even though I'm not necessarily like paying attention really to them right now, like I'll definitely be a Bulls fan. Like that won't change.
Okay.
I don't mind the
Now,
Bucks though.
pre Pinecone, what's that?
I definitely don't mind the Bucks though because actually like
Okay.
when I was younger, like especially during the Rose era, I was like Bulls tickets were expensive as shit. So my
Yeah.
my dad would take me to a lot of Bucks games because it takes about an hour to
Hmm.
get to Milwaukee, and then you know like an hour to get to United Center too. And the tickets to Bucks games are just so cheap that we went to a lot of those. And
They
that's
were
another
bad at that
reason.
point, right?
Yeah, they have like Michael Redd, um,
Okay. Okay.
and
Was that Brandon Childress or whatever the dude was that played overseas
Brandon Jennings.
and then
He
came
was
back?
raw.
Yeah, Brandon Jennings. There you go.
Yeah. Um,
Was that at that time too?
I might have seen him play, yeah, like once or twice. And then
Okay.
who's the other? Oh, Desmond Mason. Him and Michael Redd, kind
Okay.
of like the only two really good players
Yeah.
they had. They had Tony Kukoc for a little bit.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, and then so we would basically just, um, go to see like all the superstars go play in Milwaukee because the tickets were so cheap. And so that's another
Smart.
reason I kind of became a LeBron fan because I saw him play in person so many times. Um,
Mm.
and I was like, God, this guy's fucking incredible. Like when I saw it, um, when he was on the Heat, oh my God, with him and Wade, dude, that was
Yeah.
so cool.
And so you saw those teams in person.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. That's dope. And pre Pinecone injury, there were some references to you being a baller. Can you compare? Give me a comp. Give me an NBA comp. What was your game like?
Oh, um, I say like Westbrook. Like I can't shoot. Um, I'm good on defense. I still play basketball all the time, by the way. Obviously, right now it's
Okay.
tough because of COVID, but I
Right.
literally before COVID I was playing 3 or 4 days a week. I
Okay.
love playing basketball. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, like can't fucking shoot. Um, rebound pretty much over like anybody, at least in like a pickup game. Um, and I'm a good passer as long as I don't have to dribble. I
Okay.
can't really dribble, but
So you're the Russell Westbrook of your group.
I guess it's not as much
So, cause
ball demander. I'm trying to think of a better one, maybe.
and plus he's like when before he's kind of breaking down now, but before he was like he would be like an athletic in the NBA. You know what I mean? Like NBA guys be like, dude, that guy's super athletic. I mean, are you that guy? Are you more athletic than the majority of the guys around? Are the guys in your pickup game like, dang, Alex is athletic?
So because of my like, um, basically, it's so like specific, but like, um, my like lateral quickness is fucking
Yes.
nuts. Um,
Yeah,
I can jump,
because of the hip, right?
yeah, but I can fly. Like
Yeah.
I can jump really high. And
Okay.
I'm just like, I mean, not I can't like dunk or anything, but I'm just like good at like kind of seeing where the rebound's gonna go before the people and like timing it and shit. And like,
Okay.
I don't know, yeah, fuck, I miss it, man. Oh
Now, were you able to play in high school?
no,
Were you like on the high school team and stuff?
I would. I played just at like the rec, um, like senior year, but no, I never got on a team
Okay.
or anything.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
fuck,
right.
dude, you're making
Um,
me miss fucking playing. Like I haven't played for it's been like 10 months now.
yeah. So is everything because there are a couple spots around here where guys are just like, fuck it, they're just playing. Is that you don't have a crew of guys that are playing?
Um, I mean, we actually have a hoop in our it's in our garage right now, but like we have a really big driveway. So and it's like it's pretty level. So it's really nice to be able to play on there during the summer. But right now,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's super cold there right now,
oh
right?
yeah, no, I haven't played
Okay.
for quite some time. But I mean, yeah, once the weather got shitty, I mean, there's no indoor courts open. So
Yeah. Okay.
like they actually, I
Um,
go to and I don't know if you guys have exports out by you, but that's the gym I go to, and they um, tied. They actually were closed up until probably around July or August, um, and then they tied the nets up so that nobody could shoot on them,
yeah.
and like get in games or whatever. And literally like after fucking like a couple days, somebody cut them and was like they on like right away just got a game going in there, and then they I don't know what they did, but they like secured it better so that nobody could play on it. And yeah, it sucks, man.
Dang.
I miss it
Shut
so
down.
much.
Hmm.
Shut
All
down in my
right. Okay.
prime.
Yeah, that's it's rough. It's rough. Like, but maybe I mean, hopefully the vaccine's right around the corner. Things will get back to normal. Hopefully a little bit sense of normal.
I'm gonna go
Where can
real
people
quick.
go ahead?
I'm
What?
gonna go to the bathroom real quick if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
You say?
I was honestly the last thing was just if people were trying to follow you, find out more about what's going on, what's the best place to connect with you?
Oh, no. If you had other like topics you want to cover, questions or anything, I mean, I.
That was it.
But
That was literally the question I was going to ask
oh
you.
damn, I could have stayed for that.
I know. I was like, oh well.
um, I felt like the sports thing could have gone on, for quite some time.
Well, if there's more stuff you want to talk about, I mean, I don't really. Oh, are you an MMA fan?
Uh, you know what's I never really was up until COVID because that was like the first sport to come back, and I'm like, fuck, man, I am
Right.
craving sports. So I actually have gotten into that. I don't really know too much about it, but like when it's on, I'm like, this shit's riveting. You know?
Well, there's a huge pay per view this weekend.
Yeah,
Conor McGregor's fighting. You know, are you going to watch that? Do you think?
yeah. That's Saturday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I'll probably watch that. Um, Probably go down to my buddy's place in the city. But yeah, I never expected myself to get into UFC, but shit's pretty fun to
Hmm.
watch.
And COVID was really the catalyst for you liking getting into MMA.
Yeah, just because that was the
Huh?
first one that came back. There was nothing else,
Yeah.
you know.
And they caught a bunch of shit for that too. Like everyone was like, "Oh, you're putting people at risk," about which they've had positive tests, but not from people that came from somewhere else. They have not had anybody catch COVID because of the UFC. So yeah, it's pretty. I was glad when they came back. It was You're right. Like there was just that vacuum of. I mean, like that's part of the reason Last Dance was so huge. I mean, there's no sports on,
Oh
so
yeah,
when that was playing, I mean, it
everybody was
was
watching
massive.
that. Even people who didn't give a
Yeah,
shit about sports, they were like, "Fuck it, I'll throw it."
yeah. Actually, tell me, as someone who, you were born in '96, that was like, the tail end of Jordan. Watching that? What did you think about that?
I don't remember anything from because
Okay.
he retired in what, like 01?
No, no, no. I meant from the doc. What did you after when you were watching the
Oh,
doc?
oh, okay. Um, that was cool, man. It just makes me like, I'm like, I just missed it. Like,
Yeah,
it makes me
yeah.
so mad, especially just because, like I said, I'm not like a huge fan of how the league is right now. Plus,
Hmm.
obviously, like, the Bulls had like one like 3 year period where they were really good, but I mean, other than that, they were
Hmm.
fucking trash. So like that just would have been so cool to be alive during the time that your favorite team is the best dynasty in sports of all time. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough. I was born in '77, so I kind of caught like the Lakers Celtics era,
Ooh,
with Bird and Magic.
that's cool.
And I had my fifth grade teacher worked for the Blazers.
Mhm.
So, and in the '80s, security was not what it was. So he would just give me his pass and I could like walk back in the locker rooms and stuff. So I
Wow.
like met Magic Johnson and Kareem and, it was crazy. I was this little kid and, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's James Worthy. And I remember I waited for Larry Bird. He came out, got on the bus, gave me an autograph. It's like, anyway,
Hmm.
um, and then I was lucky enough to be, I was, like in high school when Jordan was great. But you're under 30, so that means that you think LeBron's the greatest ever. Did the
Hey,
Last
that's
Dance?
not an automatic.
I mean, I mean, am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong.
I will say like after watching that documentary, I'm like, it definitely like I'm more torn now. But before,
Okay.
yeah, I was like, I thought LeBron was,
I
but
mean, I'm just saying. So, uh, yeah, so that was kind of my question was, did the Last Dance make you question your incorrect assumption at all?
oh, you think that's like one like flat out incorrect?
I was just saying if you picked that up. I do though. I think it's tough because you're building two separate cases. The case with LeBron is that he's been able to do it for so long.
Yeah.
But I mean, to go 6 for 6 in the finals is just like you can't fuck with that. Like it is what it is.
Um, I just think, like you said, you cannot compare eras. You know.
Hmm.
Um, plus, like, I mean, I think Jordan had the best team for most of those years, whereas LeBron, like, you cannot,
Careful, careful.
you can't say that like all those Golden State teams shouldn't have absolutely destroyed. Like LeBron was a one man show, whereas Golden State
Yeah.
literally had probably four Hall of Famers, definitely four Hall of Famers.
Well, and you could make the case that if they don't suspend Draymond for Game 5 in a kind of controversial
That
situation,
too.
that they wouldn't have won that anyway. And to make the case that Jordan had the better team, like I mean, LeBron won with Wade and Bosch. I mean,
It was out of his way out of his prime.
way out.
Okay, not way out, not way out. Um,
Okay, all right,
and then
okay.
Bosch, I just don't think is like as much of a superstar as people made him out to be. He's an all star, but he's not like a. I don't think he was like a top 10 player at the time. Whereas like Golden State,
Okay.
Golden State had literally fucking 3 out of the top 5, maybe not top 5, but like they had 4 out of the top like 15 players in the league on one fucking team.
Hmm.
Like, that was just yeah. So basically, I would say like to sum up my argument is that the competition that LeBron was going against.
Mm.
Um,
So you're saying the competition is better. The Utah Jazz with Stockton Malone, they just were terrible.
no, they weren't terrible, but dude, like, especially after watching that documentary, like, I also didn't realize. This kind of like made me, um, kind of like maybe favor LeBron a little more was the aspect of I didn't realize how good Pippen and Rodman really were until I watched that doc.
Hmm.
Like, okay, actually, I would say like Rodman is somebody I could compare myself to. He was sick. He was just,
Okay.
he was a
Okay.
fucking animal. I like those are the types of players I
Hmm.
love, where they're just fucking relentless.
High energy, defense, rebound. Yeah, all the stuff you said that he would be a good comp for
Yeah,
you if that's what your game is.
I don't know. It's
Hmm.
like I'm definitely not like you're not gonna get me to like get all hyped up and like yelling about it
Hmm.
because like I absolutely understand the Jordan argument, um, but I still think it's LeBron, and it's like not something I'm,
LeBron with
you
the
know.
yeah, LeBron with the Heat did lose to the Mavericks with basically just Dirk. I mean, I'll just throw that out too, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Just
can't argue that. In five,
there's a case to be made. There's a case to be made both ways. I just think 6 for 6 is just like I mean that's just I don't know. It's just a killer instinct right there.
yeah, but LeBron's been to what 10?
Yeah, and he's only won what 5, 4, 5.
Or
This is the fifth, right?
or
This year.
this year, like the one that he just
This if he wins this year would be 5, right?
yeah, and this year is
So
gonna be
he'd be
tough
almost to 50%.
because last year he didn't have Golden State,
You think?
so I think this year will be tough. Yeah,
Okay.
obviously Brooklyn.
Huh.
Well, I don't. I think Brooklyn's gonna be a shit show, but
Me too.
I mean, yeah, I
I
think
think
Golden
Kyrie was
State
playing tonight for the first time.
yesterday. Yeah, it was his first game back.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and they lost to the fucking Cavs,
Dang.
like in double
Yikes.
overtime. Um,
Oof. Okay.
yeah, I don't think that team's gonna pan out. I fucking okay.
I'm not a
Guys
huge
like
Harden guy.
I was just gonna say like guys like Harden are the reason that I don't like the league today.
Why?
The whole like shooting in order to go to the line rather than shooting to make the shot. Like
Hmm.
that's not basketball,
Yeah.
you know.
But
They
okay,
are very
I
skilled. They're more
agree.
skilled for sure,
Yeah,
but it's just the
I agree with
officiating
what
that
you're
I don't
saying.
like, I guess.
Yeah, but and okay, so I definitely agree with what you're saying. It's not fun to watch. It's definitely not in the spirit of the rules. They're taking advantage of kind of a loophole in the rules,
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's like I do respect the fact that he's figured out a way. It's like, hey, he didn't make the rules. Those are the rules, and he's just found a way to be super successful inside of them. So it's like, well, I don't want to watch it. 100% don't want to watch it. Plus, I think there's other things. I don't think he's a winner. You know what I mean? Like that
absolutely.
guy. Name name a major big situation that dude has come through in the playoffs. Doesn't have. It's like Paul George nicknamed himself Playoff P. Never made it out of the second round. Like, come on, dude. But I mean, I don't know, man. I would not if I was coaching a team and I had to pick a set of guys that I absolutely wanted to ride or die with, even like what he did in this last 3 weeks in Houston, like that tells me something about you as a competitor. If you just eat yourself out of the league, you
Like,
know,
did you see what
you
Boogie said?
yeah, dude, and that's what I'm saying. If Boogie is putting you in check on how to be a good teammate, like
Yeah, right.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was, yeah, not super, not super stoked on that. But anyway, but I do like the NBA. I'm not much of a football guy. I might watch some of the games. I'll probably cheer for Tampa just to go against you. But I mean, I'm not really super. I'm not super invested in the NFL, but I do like the NBA. And I like college hoops too, which sucks because although they are gonna do March Madness tourney, but still, even then, it's gonna be weird because so many teams have not played or have played
Right.
just a couple games. So, like, how can you tell when you seed those teams? Like, how do you know how good they really are?
Yeah, exactly. Plus, like, um, the only reason I would really be into college before is like the atmosphere. The fans,
Hmm.
the fans just make college
Yeah,
so good. But now
yeah,
they're like,
good call. I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
but I was like, okay, well, yeah, they're not as, they might not be as skilled, but just the atmosphere is fucking crazy there. But now, like, you don't have that, and they're less skilled in NBA, so it's like, yeah,
it's a good point. I didn't think about no fans. Yeah, because yeah, one shining moment this year is gonna suck. Because it'll be like, no, yeah, I didn't even think about that. All right, cool. Well, anyway, anything else that I left out that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about?
uh, no, yeah, I forgot where that
Yeah, plug your
where
socials.
that was going. So actually, um,
Yeah.
I just did the first episode of a podcast that me, Mike, and our other buddy Aaron. We just did our first episode today.
Okay.
It's called the Down Bad Podcast. Um,
Down bad.
yeah, like when
Okay.
like you're down bad to fucking FanDuel or whatever. So it's
Oh,
gonna be
okay.
like a mainly sports podcast, kind of like a little lifestyle, just general, shooting the shit type of podcast.
Okay.
But yes,
Where can people? Is it going to be available on like Spotify, Apple
yeah,
Pods, all that stuff?
yeah, we're putting it up on
Okay.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So I'm pumped about that because like I just thought it was funny how literally I think both of you messaged me within like a day or two. My buddy Aaron,
Both of who?
is the one who like reached out like with the idea because he already had like podcast equipment from an old one that he did,
Okay.
and he just messaged me and Mike and asked if we wanted to do it. So I was like, why the fuck not? It would be fun to just you know talk sports, um, and if something comes out of it, like awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, it was
And
crazy.
so, do you guys have like
Both.
Instagram, Facebook,
Uh,
Twitter? Do you have like that stuff that people can go follow or?
so my Instagram is at One Hip Wonder. Um,
Right.
what's the
I meant for the pod. Sorry. Do you have that stuff for the pod? Because we can link all that stuff in the show notes too. I can put links to all of your um, stuff there. And with my tons of listeners and viewers, you might pick up like 4 people to subscribe.
doesn't hurt? Let's see. It's called Down Bad Pod.
Okay, on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Okay,
Um, so yeah, I'm fucking excited.
and when does the first episode go up?
Me and Mike aren't the ones editing it. That's gonna be Aaron.
Okay,
So,
all right. So soon.
yeah, yeah, it'll be this week. Probably
Okay,
tomorrow or Saturday.
okay. Let's not say this week and Saturday because it also depends on when I get this edited. So
Uh,
at some point though, soon. You know what I mean?
yeah. So how long does it like? Do you think it'll take you to edit this?
It depends. Um, I'm still like the video stuff. It's nothing's really. It doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I really push, I could probably do it by tomorrow night. Probably. It does take some time because you figure we're in an hour and a half, So just rendering an hour and a half long video
Mhm.
is going to take a while, even after I edit it. So
Sure.
I'll try to get it up by Saturday, though. That'll be my goal,
Okay.
and I'll let you know. I'll tell you when it posts. But that's we can talk about that after we end. Okay, so you plugged the pod, Instagram, your Instagram. Is there anything else you want to plug?
Um, I don't think so. No.
Okay, all right. Well, hang on. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna sign off, but don't hang up.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
No problem.